The chronic, don't even worry about it.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Hit Makers Unite. I'm Malachi, the host, and this is a podcast. If y'all didn't know, we got artists, producers, engineers, A&Rs, whoever in the music industry sharing their story. That's enough about that. But today we got Shekinah on with us. What's up?
Hey. Thanks for
Hey,
having me.
what's up? Hey, we really excited to hear from you, man. Like, I've been following you from a little bit of afar on social media, your performances, some of your music. But for people that don't know you, like, introduce yourself.
My name is Shekinah. I am a singer, songwriter, do a little bit of producing, I'm an artist. I just love to create, love to perform. Yeah, you should check out my music.
Nice. Yeah, y'all definitely should check out some of her music. She released a project based on a true story. It was really good. I think y'all should check it out. But
Thank
let's just take a step back. We'll talk about that a little bit later because that we need some time to talk about that a little bit later. But like, let's just talk about how you got into music, bro. Like, just like, I mean, people who sing usually they find out in a choir or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
I was like my whole family is pretty musically influenced. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles. But yes, my mom was the choir director, and my aunt that I spent a lot of time with growing up, she was the organist for the church. So we was always singing, we was always
Wow.
doing some concerning music. I used to be at church about 4 to 5 days out of the 7 day week. So, I'm always gonna be singing. But I stepped into my artistry, I think sophomore year of college, so it's probably like 2017,
Okay.
2016,
Okay.
around then.
Right, that's crazy. Like you being in church and like your family so tied into music. Like what was that like? Was there any pressure to do music or was it something you already was like wanting to do?
No, I mean I always wanted to do it. I would go out for talent shows and win it. But then my mom and dad really wanted me to go into like pre-nursing, something more quote unquote realistic. And
Mm-hmm.
so it just wasn't realistic for me. I had to do what was realistic for me, and it's great now to have
Mm.
that support. But yeah, that was I wasn't pressured at all to do music.
Yeah. It just came. It was a real passion.
Mhm.
So like you talked about like choosing to like do something that you wanted to do, which was music. So what's your background in music? Like, did you do music in college? Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, you have singing growing up, and then in high school when I got to sing like music that wasn't gospel, it was kind of like choir music, like chorale and stuff like that. I had
Mm,
always felt like been like a wordsmith. My sister's a writer, so I'd always had
mm,
thoughts and journal entries and things like that that I used and it
mm.
just turned to songs. I got with Highlanders Media Group out here. We made my first project, Solitaire, which is a I think 7 track. It's been so long. 7 track project. That was my baby, and yeah, it just kind of kept going. I didn't know what was gonna come from
Yeah.
it, but I'm just doing what I love, and I'm just grateful to be making the or covering the ground that I'm covering, being able to keep going. So
And that's what's up. That's I'm always interested in how people start in music because like nobody's story is the same. So thanks for sharing that for real.
of course, I feel like everybody be
Um,
starting in the church. I ain't gonna lie. Like I feel like everybody be like, yes, the church.
but it's different though. Like I mean, your folks. I mean, it sounded like they ran the church in the music. I mean, they ran the music in the church. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
they
like
did.
that's a different story than somebody who was just like a part of church was singing. But anyway, yeah. That's really cool, bro. All right, so like let's kind of like jump ahead. So you talked about in 2017 you kind of started to break away and start to do your artistry. Like bring us back to that. What was the epiphany like? When did you decide, hey, this is for me? You know?
Oh my God, I had like failed. another midterm. I used to fail, just fail. Everything like everything pre-nurse. I was in college 6 years, bro. Like I literally failed the first 2 years out of pre-nursing school. I hadn't even made the cut to be in nursing school, but like I was
Yeah.
failing, constantly daydreaming about myself being on stage, constantly kind of like um feeling envious, like innocently envious of people that did decide to do that. And so I was just like, who cares? Like my roommate at the time, shout out Lene, she was like witnessing me cry. I was sad. And she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I just want to do music. She literally was like, then do it. Like, what's the problem? Why? That's the solution. And I really credit that moment for being like the aha moment of like, she's right. Like, why am I making this
Mm.
harder than it has to be? But I think that wanting the approval of your family. Of course, like singing secular music, R&B is not what somebody raised in a church, like what pastors and preachers really want for their kids. So I think just like jumping out and not being afraid to not be approved by my parents was something that was more
Mhm.
so the milestone to get through for me. And so it happened sophomore year. And I changed my major to music because I still needed to live with them. So, you know.
Mhm. That's I mean, that's crazy. Like you really talking about growing and like making not only making a choice for yourself, but like confirming your identity, like who you want to be versus what people are expecting.
Right.
And so like I'm curious, like how does that reflect in your music? Like you kind of talked about it, like you know what I'm saying, I'm choosing to say sing this kind of music and maybe my folks not approving of it, but like do you feel like it has affected you in your music and how you show yourself, how you know show up in your music?
I definitely feel like I have major gospel influence, like still in my music, and I think R&B is gospel. It's just one is singing about love and one is singing about God, but they're actually the same thing. You know what I mean? God is love, so
Mm,
it's like learning that and being able to approach it from that perspective. It just kind of makes it easier for my parents to swallow, but for me, um, yeah, I feel like I'm just very greatly influenced by gospel, specifically because I wasn't allowed to listen to anything else growing up. Like I was not allowed to listen.
mm,
I heard a lot of music for the first time, like with adult ears, is what I'm saying. And so
mm,
maybe that affects it as well. I believe that a lot of my projects, a lot of the harmonies I choose, it comes from like my mom being the choir director. And I hear it all like in the back of my head. So it's easy to like, build those vocal arrangements and stuff, which I think is probably what sets me apart from, a lot of
mm.
the vocal arranging that I choose to do.
That's true. Like I was listening to some of your music and like you definitely hear the different parts, the harmonies and stuff.
Hmm.
And they like you really like layer your voice like in your tracks. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's take a step back though. Like, okay, like what what do you enjoy most about making music? Like what do you when it's time to like make a song or whatever, like what do you enjoy most about it? And then we'll get into like your process of making a song. Yeah.
I think it's different every song, which lets me know I just enjoy the process in general. I think it's really
Mm,
cool to have silence and then it turns to a whole song. It's like you're literally creating something out of thin air. So
mm.
that's just the beautiful part about making music, but it's different for everyone.
And so do you work with a band or like are you in there with the producer and y'all coming up with ideas together? Like how does that work?
Sometimes, man, like sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Like Solitaire, I was fortunate enough to be able to sit behind produced by Ford and just kind of like and just listen to him make the beat while I'm kind of like humming some a little melody or something with it. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
when I travel from here to LA, that wasn't afforded that as much,
Mm,
so it came to me producing. When I got unapologetic, C Major was very helpful. We would just have cook up sessions, and it would be like me creating at the same time as him creating. And
mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's different every time. Like I said, I still don't even know what's my favorite because I have songs that like I like that somebody just sent me a beat and it was just me alone in the room. And then I have some songs that I really really like that somebody else was in the room and they shared that moment with me. So the process
Mm.
changes. It's constant evolving, and I think that that's what also keeps me so versatile. Like we don't know what's gonna come next sonically.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. The flexibility and working with different people and like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
as you look at your artistry and all the things you do, like you say you make beats, you sing,
Hmm.
you already good at collaborating with people. What is something that you are looking to like be better
It all. Like I literally am addicted to like
at?
growing my craft like crazy. This past performance I did, I was so proud of my vocal performance. It was my first time being on stage in what felt like 2 years, I think, pandemic, since the
Okay.
pandemic being in front of that big of an audience. So um, I'm always trying to like grow vocally because there's so much to focus on, so much that is entailed with music that I want to
Mm-hmm.
grow vocally. I also want to grow when it comes to producing. It's one thing to make loops and beats, which is the stage that I feel like I was at like at the beginning of this
Mm-hmm.
year, but it's another thing to be able to completely compose a song from left to right, making sure that the
Mm-hmm.
bridge feels different than the chorus feels different than the verse, like making sure things actually feel like a full song versus just a constant loop going. That's definitely something I'm still
Mm-hmm.
wanting to grow at, and eventually I hope to be able to create with like a full band in a room, because I haven't really gotten that experience yet, so I'm looking forward to what my music
I
will
hear
sound
it.
like
Yeah.
when it's that.
Nice. Yeah. 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 That's good. Um, and it sounds like some of your mom's influence is coming in, where it's like you doing all the things, like as a choir director, right? Like they're like in tune with the music side and the vocal side and
Yeah,
orchestrating everything.
yeah,
And so it sound yeah, that
that's a
sound
cool
like a
way to
big
look at it.
influence. um, yeah. So you mentioned that you was in Memphis and in LA, and so I think you transitioned to LA,
Yeah.
and so like obviously that's a big change. And
Mhm.
so like you want to share like some of the reasons behind that move and what is it giving you as an artist? Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like, well, first I want to say I don't feel like people have to move from their city to grow or do anything. But me personally, I had a lot of growing to do out of the mentality that I feel like I placed on myself. um, which was when you're here your entire life, you know people from kindergarten, you know people from Bible study, you know people from vacation Bible school, you know people from seventh grade, you know people from this school, that school.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have all these reputations that you're kind of living up to, these old personalities that you're quote unquote living up to. And all of that I felt like was just getting in the way of my artistry. I could have just said F it and like, defied all gravity here. But again, that speaks to like knowing who you are and knowing what you have to do in order to get to where you're trying to get. And I just needed to take a step away from all expectations and really see what it is that I expected from myself. And I think that that's what's propelled me so much further into my artistry, me being able to fully step into, okay, who is Shekinah as a grown woman? Like, you know? So
Yeah. 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 I get that.
it didn't have to
It's
be
like
LA.
people.
It could have,
Yeah, don't have to be LA.
yeah,
But everybody looks for that opportunity to like reset their mind and space, and like sometimes that's a change of scenery. Sometimes like that's picking out new clothes, like whatever it
hmm.
is. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had
All
other
right, so
options that I wanted to go. Like I wanted
oh yeah,
to go other
yeah.
places, but man, the way it just kind of like it went from like a 1 month vacation post graduation, to a 6 month sublet for somebody that like a musician that went overseas and needed somebody to take over his spot for 6 months. It had a studio in
Mm,
it already, so I was like, why would I not do that? Um, that's when I got better at producing, and then that turned into like, okay, why would I go home after 7 months? Like you're here, be here. So
mm,
yeah, ended up just
mm.
kind of like falling into place, I guess.
No, it's good, and I think I mean, like you said, you can make it anywhere. Like the
Hmm.
internet, it makes it super easy. You can pop off on TikTok, social media, whatever.
Right.
Like you don't need to be there, but sometimes like being in those spots like LA where people are known for their artistry or music, and having those connections is valuable. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good spot. Yeah. Um, I was gonna ask you, like about your like the type of music you make. So you make R&B, right? And it sounds like you produce some of your own tracks,
Yeah.
and so like talk about like R&B is so layered. Like to me, like you got P Diddy talk about R&B is dead, but like if you actually like if you are in tune with R&B like right now, this modern R&B, it's so many versions of R&B that's out there that exist.
Right.
And so like where do you see yourself in that span?
I don't know. I think I stopped trying to put myself in a box. Like, I mean, of course, I select the closest genre to when it comes to uploading music because you have to. They ask you what
Mm-hmm.
genre is this? What's the secondary genre? What's this? Like you have to. But I don't know. I don't feel necessary. I don't feel it's necessary to put myself in a box. So I don't know. I make
Mm.
R&B sometimes. I make house sometimes. I make jazz influence
Mm.
tracks sometimes. The other day I literally made some jazz. Like I don't know. I don't think I'm in a box. But my last project, it was heavily R&B influenced, and it just kind of felt
Mm-hmm.
like alternative R&B or something. But I may come out with a pop project. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, it's how you feel. It's all about expression. Yeah, so talk about that project you came out with, and I think it was August, but based on a true story, and it's a it's a short EP, right?
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, just talk about that. Go ahead.
Based on a true story. I have been in LA for 2 years. I've been working on the project for 2 years, and we had recorded, or I had made like about 20 songs, and I just kind of chose like the best five that I felt like capitalized on my growth, sounded great sonically, and yeah, it just kind of formed itself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I make mad beats with a demo of Give Me Love. It was written by my homie Early. And he was able to take that track and made it 10 times better. Than Sucker for You. I did that in LA with Trey Graves and Solomon Smith solo, who are both from Memphis. And they just happened to be in
Mm-hmm.
LA as well. So we connected and made that track. And I love that. That was my first time making something so grown. I recorded that song before I even recorded Give Me Love. And then Temperature Rising was like me downstairs messing around with my beat pad. I was singing, sparked up and just like in my own zone. I made that song by myself and I brought that to solo after the fact for him to help with mixing on the vocals. Um, yeah, Something's Gotta Give was a fun collaborative effort between Black Bach, Jay Hicks, and produced by Ford. Um, I wrote majority of that song. Jay Hicks came through with that second verse. His pen game is crazy. And
Mm.
and so that was also the first time I accepted so much help on one track, like which showed me that it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to ask for help and to have other people's input on your music. It was great. I feel like that's the most radio ready song out of the whole project.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, we have Direct Result, which was produced by Light Ease. This is my first time working with this man. I've never seen him in person, never talked to him, but it's just like a long distance work relationship that worked out. And we got like three more in the clip that we may or may not let go of. Who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
it was fun. It was just fun, like easy going. That's the fun part about being independent. It's like, who gonna check me? Who gonna tell me, what I can and
What you
can't do?
can and can do.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so it was just fun, and I was just grateful for the whole process. It's definitely based on a true story. Definitely about the things that I went through with the move. Coming into a woman, I moved there when I was 24. I'm now 26. Like that's a big difference, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot can happen in 2 years.
a
Yeah.
lot can happen in 2 years, and mentally, I just feel like I had grown like years, and so it was just time to talk about it and time to remind people like I do music, and I was tired of just like sitting on all the music that I've created over the years because it's been a lot. I have a bigger archive than I have stuff that's out, and so
Mm-hmm. No, that's nice, and I hear you working with all these producers. You shouting them out, and like you giving them they do credit,
yeah.
and I'm curious, like as a producer yourself, and you talked about how you made your own tracks,
Hmm.
and they would like take them over and like make them better and stuff. How is that? Like, how do you, as a producer slash artist, work with like producers? Like, I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Well, I consider myself more so an artist that learned how to produce
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't getting my ideas off the way I wanted to. Like I didn't think people was
Mm-hmm.
understanding what I meant when I was like, okay, create something like this so I can come like this. And so there's nothing better than to learn it yourself so you can show them. And so that was really the whole point of me learning production to begin with. And so now I've just gotten to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I'm like, oh, this is fun. Like actually could do this by myself, but why would I want to? It's so fun to have people that are more experienced in this area. You get to learn from them. You get to just kind of see what they have to offer and, what their ears hear different from yours. And I don't know. I think that is probably why I give so much credit because I do understand, but I've never produced for anybody else. I've only produced for myself. So like I'm able to produce, but these people have produced for other people as well. So I just think they have a different ear, and it's nice to honor that, you know.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good. I think it's good to like give the people behind the scenes their credit. So yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
All right, so one track on that song or on the album that I was interested in particularly is Temperature Rising. And not because of like the content or the sound. I think that all that is great. It was actually the length of the song. And so here you are with this EP. You say you have 5 songs on it, and then one of the songs is like a minute long or less. And so, you know, everyone when they listen to music, it's always that one song and artists label it as an interlude. But sometimes people feel like, bro, we need more of that. Why did you stop?
Yeah.
And so like I just want to take the opportunity to ask you that. Like, why did you stop? Why is it so short?
Probably because, again, like I just talked about, like the loops. That was like something that I had created. It was a moment, and I think when you're in that moment, like let it be as beautiful as it was. There's no point in like beating a dead horse. There's no point in like bringing it back up. Okay, now let's finish this. Like to me, I said everything that there was to say, and it was so beautiful because it came out in a moment, and so why it was finished.
Or I try to add more to it. Yeah.
It was finished.
Yeah, that's important. Like I feel like that's important for anybody making music. Like it's art, and there's no right or wrong way to make a song.
Right.
There's no right distance or right length of time that a song needs to play. Like it's just an expression of what you're trying to put out. So yeah,
Right.
it's really good. That's really good. All right, thanks Shekinah for coming on. Like your story is amazing, starting from like gospel roots to R&B and just expressing who you are as an artist. Truly, like that's really inspirational. And so like any artist, producer, any fan potentially they want to connect with you, like where can they find you at?
Yes. So I am on Instagram. That is @_Shekinah. That's @_SHECHINAH. And I mean, you could connect with me on Twitter. It's the same thing @_Shekinah. SHECHINAH.
But she said not really though.
Please get out of my business on Twitter.
That's funny.
You can connect with me on Twitter if you like to laugh. But all work can either go to my email, bookshekinah@gmail.com, or my Instagram @_Shekinah.
All right, bet. Thank you. And thank you all for listening. That's been another episode of the Hitmakers Unite podcast. Now, if you're an artist, producer, engineer, anything related to the music industry, like please tap into our Discord server. We got a community building just for y'all so y'all can help and learn and grow and share with each other, because it's all about like bettering each other, helping each other out. So like please tap into that. It's in the episode details. Other than that, peace.